Hi. Well, the energy sure building up, and this week it's bring it in and bring it out. So what was revealed this week was very exciting, and interestingly enough, when I look what others may be speaking and sharing, you know, we're all pretty much on the same page, and I find it fascinating that as the energy turns up and reveals itself, I can see reflections through experiences of others or shared information that comes along. But this week was very interesting because patterns we have made normal through what we shared last week, which is should, this desire to be kind, to be good, to do what's right, to do our best, and feeling we haven't done enough. All of that is starting to be looked at in a very different way. So the way to draw it, and this pattern that I'm sharing now that showed up fitted everyone that I saw, but in a very different usage. So hopefully you can find your usage or insight from this. If it doesn't fit what has shown up, live into it and see how that fits you. So what showed was an energy being, and the center, where you know, I mean, when we're in the womb, this dot that arrives, it does feel that it is the whole world. And to some extent, when we pop into the world, what is going on just mirrors back continuously how you see who you are. All our lives are uniquely different because we mirror back to ourselves continuously. So what was found? This energy around our being. There's this energy. And this energy is that desire to be good, to do well, to be well. Now, what was found is that energy was used to make things okay. That sense of, yes, I can do this, I can meet this, I can be okay in this. And that habit of putting up with and making okay for others, which sometimes is necessary, and even for ourselves to have that energy. Now, what showed up is that a massive, extensive energy has arrived. And what this being needed to be very careful with was the desire to continue to put up with more stuff, make more stuff okay. More is showing up, so I have to make more okay. And it's interesting because I shared here, I can remember in growing up that my father being a night shift worker, my mum was left to be with these growing teenage kids in a country she was not familiar with. And the two older ones, they were always jockeying for top position. And there was a lot of energy and kind of that noisiness that children have, and teenagers in particular, when they decide to run with something and play seriously with another in this hockeying. And it was pretty full on energy as I remember it. You know, it was this dense energy of this jockeying energy between the two older ones. And it wasn't until my mother couldn't take it anymore, she would cry. And we all loved our mother. And the house would go silent for 3 days because we did not want to upset her, and we knew something terrible must have happened for my mother to cry. And there was a real heartfelt sense of what she obviously had been enduring. And although she may have said, stop it, or that's enough, you know, it just went over children's heads. And this energy here, in that making it okay, I mean, that was a very different era back then. That was in the 60s. The energy of children now is very different in how they interact with parents and society and all that sort of stuff. But what needs to be now noticed is that this extensive energy to make more okay to breaking point, it showed up this time that to recognize what is not okay anymore, what really needs to stop, in a heartfelt communication way with them, to see how we can move forward in respect of each other. So this is bring it in, bring that energy in, and bring it out to say, this is not viable anymore. This cannot go on this way. And it is acknowledging that how you feel is okay to feel, and to bring that out. Others that I saw with this energy around, it kind of, they lost their footing. It's this whole new energy. What do I do with it? Where do I stand? How do I project? How do I draw in? It was just swimming around them. And to give it a sense of bringing it in and bringing it through gave a sense of presence that wasn't forward looking, it wasn't drawing from the past, it was present. It was the in-breath and the out-breath and the presence of that gave the footing. In others, it showed as an energy that was present, that now could be used to be even more authentic, to be clearer about their own okayness, and that people can have another way of seeing things, another opinion, and to really be clear about what authentically their choice is in the moment, or their opinion, not in any sense of you have to see it the way I see it, just this authentic, this is how I see it, and the energy to bring that through more. And when that happens, life is lived more fully. Another, this energy that was around happened to take on their partner's energy, and they literally got sick, foggy-headed, flu symptoms, all sorts of things were happening because that energy exaggerating and pulling in what another is feeling is not for you to digest. So when it was clearly seen that that's not mine, it's not mine to digest, it's not mine to work out, because the mind had nowhere to go with it, because it wasn't theirs to go to. So recognizing that it wasn't theirs, the energy came back really quickly. All of a sudden the tiredness was gone. Now, the next one was very interesting. because this being has always, and you might recognize yourself in this, and if you do, there'll be great relief to see what it is. So this being, when she came into the world, she came in already with the ability, with that capacity, with that amount of energy. She's always lived it to that edge. And now that that edge has been met collectively, she can't push it past that limit. And she was always used to being able to go further and deeper and more in her ability to work, to be generous, to do for others, to care. That activity of movement, of being able to bring energy in and do something with it. It's her go-to. And it met the edge. But by meeting the edge, it was also so burnt out and exhausted. And in fact, on seeing her, I thought, wow, this is so different. She literally looked old. And I actually said to her, what's going on? This energy, it's old. And in describing where she had been living to that extent for decades, she could recognize the time to actually relax and to also understand not everybody was born with that energy. And if you are born with that energy, it is so frustrating that others haven't got that capacity. It can make life very difficult because we always assume what we feel or where we're at, that other people are just lifting their game. That may be true, but it also may be they're at where they're at. Another came in, and as with the first one, it was really this ability to pull it in, to then go back to roundtable discussions and cut through and really lay down how we're going to deal, what we're going to be clear about moving forward. And it was very specific and very doable. And in that way, everyone at that round table was included and recognized, because they're all putting up with different things or putting onto others what is normal for me, and you just have to accept it. And that wasn't working, because if you're parenting, you can put two people at loggerheads, and when mum and dad are at loggerheads, the kids have got a huge gap to run through with whatever they want to do. And it was time to recognize each other in what truly needed to be addressed and to put it on the table and put in place, cut through how we're going to move forward. Fabulous energy at the moment. Another who has been standing in this energy for a very long time actually found a peace of really knowing capacity and cutting through to getting what that is, and to be authentic and at peace with it, and not be driven by external pressures or demands that were put onto, or could very easily put onto, knowing that that extra pressure actually isn't present. It's like an old habit of feeling all these things have to be thought about, they have to be brought through, they have to be put down, the theory, the philosophy, the this, that and the other. And it was like, no. Doing more of that is not present. It's not really what is most necessary right now, what is functional, what is that moment by moment process that is so authentic it leads to the next authentic and the next authentic. another came with this energy. And in this time, rather than running with things as I usually do, with this extra energy, it was like a further insight came about where rather than running with the usual, because I can, and I have, it was more being able to, with this extra energy, look and be more measured and see what's actually fair here for both parties. It was like there was a line. It saw a line where there wasn't a line before. And this line was something they were aware they did not want to step over, but they were also conscious that the other party, that it was important for them also not to step over the line, and then to be able to clearly see what's fair and speak the fairness of it out of great consideration for each other, because it would be so easy to just let them step over the line. After all, they stepped over it, nothing to do with me. It was seen it had everything to do with them also. And to really clearly see a fairness here. Great energy. Another who has been living the fullness of that energy for a long time. Raising children is not an easy thing. And this capacity to do good, to keep doing, to do what's best, to constantly be focused on that, can sometimes be too much over a hell of a long time. And then eventually this energy that has arrived has kind of really taken it to its fullness. And in its fullness, burnout happened. It's almost this energy has arrived where it can do no more. I cannot do more with it. And it is about, no, you are exhausted. You're in burnout phase. And like last week where it was turn should into could, what showed up this week very much is that when you're on burnout, it's okay to just do what you want to do, what you feel a natural desire for. I want to clear the dishes out of the sink, or I don't even want to clear the dishes out of the sink. At some stage you will want to clear the dishes out of the sink and do it when that wanting to arrives. And if you do that and you stay true to that, before you know it, energy arrives so that you can add something else to it. And then when that is natural, something else arrives and something else arrives. Because what really showed up here is that they had been climbing Mount Everest. And they were at the top of Mount Everest and there was nowhere else to go except being burnt out. But when we do things naturally, before you know it, through natural progression, whether it's building muscles or building a discipline, it builds, and before you know it, you are way beyond Mount Everest. This gradual process. So it culminated in someone coming who has really got to a stage of life where you don't feel that you are changing. You feel this sense of becoming and it growing and becoming. And this case was rather interesting because the partner said, "Gosh, you've changed. You're not what you used to be." And I find that a very interesting statement when a partner says that, because in many ways we change so much in a lifetime in this process of pulling in and bringing it out. it's a journey where that is supported in each other. And this being was truly inspiriting and finding that sense of self that brings out the next. But the partner was coming more from ideas, more mental concepts of how it is, and why can't you meet my mind in this, or the idea in it. And when an idea doesn't have a spirit behind it, it feels quite empty just to go along with an idea that hasn't got that spirit foundation behind it. So if we can change the word of change to becoming, there can be so much more support for it. And to recognize yourself that this sense of becoming and bringing out may not be appreciated by the partner, and to have it be okay where they're at, but confirm yourself at the same time and continue with the authenticity of what that feels. And of course, there are grey areas always in a relationship where you can go with an idea, but not to the point of, I really, really don't want to. And I'd appreciate it if I'm just not there. And that doesn't mean you've changed. You're in a process of becoming. And these things are to be dialogued. So in the process of all of that, the cards that showed up were humility, purpose, and openness. And they relate to these processes because there is a sense of humility. When you feel this shift in yourself, this solidness of yourself, the okayness of yourself, the stop being the hero in the game and come from where you're at, and if it's burnt out, to be authentic with that. And that brings about the humility, to be humble with that, to recognize it, and to just not keep going and going and going and going and making things okay when they're not, because others will take advantage of it. Humility. Allow an unpretentious but confident air to surround you. Live your truth lovingly. Be prepared to work in service to others without obvious personal gain. Love and enjoy that you can give and feel good about your place in the big picture. Now is not the time to rock the boat or stand on your soapbox. Soapbox is more the mental mind. I think in humility you can come from your heart. And that's not a soapbox. Purpose. Feel a sense of purpose in everything you do. Know that you can learn your lessons and move on. Understand that everything has a purpose that includes stopping. You can learn from your past, but do not dwell upon it. Move forward with purpose even when the direction is unclear. There is a higher purpose to everything. It's an interesting thing. The being that was burnt out, it's just her energy is so productive. I mean, there was so much productive energy in all who came. But to see that if you are productive, you don't have to multiply that up, you don't have to effort it, because you are productive. Being productive on top of productive will burn you out. Just know you are productive, which can be sitting still. To be open to this shift, bring it in, bring it out, and being open to that. Openness creates an allowance of the self to be without judgment. Openness breaks down barriers, melts away fears, and allows creativity and communication to flow. Check your feelings. When you are being open, there will be no need to feel defensive. Let go all levels of fear, doubt, worry, and concern, and what you have left will be confidence, self-esteem and love, all of which function very well with openness. Considering we've gone from breakthrough to, for quite a while, these breakthroughs, from shoulds to coulds to this inner authenticity that will bring breakthroughs. Much love.